let's put up the affirmation for the day. I circulate the currency of good, and my capacity to receive expands. Now, consider this. What if you had stolen, robbed somebody of his most cherished possession, and you were about to see this person for the first time in 20 years? Would you be fearful? Yeah, real fearful, scared, because losing or robbing somebody of something that is rightfully theirs, and then you meet them again 20 years later, what do you say to a person like that? Well, this happened in the Bible with Jacob and Esau. They were brothers, fraternal twins. And here's what happened. Isaac, the son of Abraham, and Rebekah had been married for 20 years. No babies. And of course, everybody was concerned about that because in those days we were given the direction to repopulate the earth. We've got to have babies in order to do that. But when Jacob and Esau were born, something happened. First of all, Rebekah realized that these rumblings in her womb were ongoing. And so she began to pray about that. And she was saying, God, what in the world is going on? I'm having these, she didn't know she was having twins, but I'm having all of this disruption in my womb. And God said, you're going to have twins. Oh boy. And they're fighting now, and they're going to fight the rest of their life. Who wants fighting kids around? I'm sure she didn't like the idea any more than I would, having fighting kids around. So here's the crazy thing, is that when they were born, Esau was born first. That's supposed to give him all sorts of rites of passages in the Jewish family. And then here came Jacob after him. But get this, here comes that baby head first out, here feet are the last, and with that foot coming out, here is another hand holding on to that foot. I'm sure Rebekah knew that this was going to be a very interesting life that she was having with her children. And so these kids grew up together, and they were fraternal twins. But here's what you must remember. Esau was covered with hair. Esau had red hair, and it was as long as an adult's. So these boys grew up, and they were so different in character. Esau, the oldest, resorted to tricks, countless tricks. And he didn't like to study. He didn't like to do anything but be out in the fields being a farmer. However, his brother Jacob was very different than he, because he liked to spend his time at home engaged in study with his father. Now, there came a time when their father Isaac was very old. His eyesight was failing, and it came to be that he had not offered a blessing to either of his sons. So he decided, time to do that for Esau. But Rebekah, the mother, she was kind of a conniver. And she went and got Jacob, and she said, because that was her favorite, do not let your father give the blessing to Esau. You've got to dress up with him, put pelts on your arms, and fix him his favorite meal of venison. Because when he offers this blessing, I want you to have it rather than Esau. So he went into Esau's room, Jacob did, got the clothes. His mother helped him with the pelts. She even cooked the dinner, and he took it in to his father. Now his dad, Isaac, no fool here, was very skeptical that he was smelling, hearing. He says, I hear Jacob's voice, but he's feeling his arms. He says, but these are Esau's arms, and I can smell this wonderful food, and I didn't tell Jacob to go fix that. So he knew in his heart, he thought that it was Esau, his son. So he bestows this long blessing, as the Jews do, on their firstborn child, that everything is going to be great and wonderful, blah, blah, blah. So Esau and Jacob come in, and they realize that the blessing has been given to Jacob rather than Esau. Jacob had taken Esau's birthright, and 20 years later, both of them were fabulously wealthy. And Esau sent a messenger to Jacob saying, I'm coming to see you. Now, this sent Jacob into quite a tailspin, because now he was about to meet the brother that he had stiffed out of his inheritance 20 years ago. So it's very clever how this all came about. It says, far in the distance, Jacob saw Esau coming with 400 men. Now, what would you think was going to happen? War, exactly, war. But Jacob had prayed about this very instance. So he gets together his wife and his children and like 150 goats. And he sends them on ahead. And then behind that, like a half mile behind, he sends out cattle. And behind that, more people, more sheep, until there was this staggered event of processions of people coming to meet Esau. And so Esau finally sees Jacob and he says, who are these people with you? And Jacob replied, my children. And the concubines came forward with their children, and here came Leah, Jacob's first wife, and she was bringing her children. And Esau says, well, what about all the flocks and the herds that I met as I came? And Jacob replied, these are my gifts to you. And Esau says, oh, I have plenty. Keep what you have. But Jacob said, no, please accept them, because it's such a relief to see you and your family smile. If you will just turn over the concern to God, that is going to make a difference in how you approach anything that comes at you. It doesn't have to be Esau with his 400 men, but it is exactly how you should approach that situation, is by bringing God into the mix as fast as you can. So what we learn from this is that a full jug cannot accommodate more. If we cling to what we have now without creating the capacity for something new, we restrict the flow of good and fresh blessings pouring into our lives. The spiritual laws of circulation and compensation tell us that freely sharing our gifts does not deplete our resources. Got that? Freely sharing everything we have will not deplete our resources. In fact, God says the more we give, the more He has a chance to give through us. Let us joyously share our time, our talents, our treasures in varied and imaginative ways. We might just do something so simple as offering a helping hand to someone, or volunteering our time, or sharing ideas, or just simply a smile with someone, or a hug as we do here. Or we can donate money or some of our gently used clothing or possessions. But with a consciousness of prosperity, we always have more to share. Our question for the week is, what should I give? Your time, your talent, your love, hugs, kisses, smiles, all of those count. So when we go back to the lesson of Esau and Jacob, remember that Jacob's words to his brother was, please accept my gift as brought to you, because I have everything I want.